welcome to the third quarterfinal of this insane edition already. I know this, I say this every time, but it is true every time. We've had two exciting quarterfinals, and now we start with this again insane set of panel, this crazy combination of four people. All these four people have almost always won the most fun participant, and they've all come together in this this Avengers of sort of the funniest people that exist in this whole circuit of Indian comedy. I can't wait to call all of them one by one. First contestant is the next champion of QVizzing with the Comedians. Finalist several times. One of the strongest and always, like I say, one of Bookie's favorite for this edition as well. Give it up for Ashish Shakya. Stacks, Bookie's favorite.
Hello.
Come on.
Hello. Bookie's favorite.
Bookie's favorite.
I like it. I like this very non-violent bookie system that we have. It's great.
Yeah.
ना कोई phone call दुबई से कुछ नहीं बात.
कोई नहीं. Okay, on that note, again, crowd favorite, everyone's favorite, again making a comeback in quizzing. Very, very excited to call him again. He's been here earlier so many times. Give it up for Gopal, the GD.
And I'm here. Hey, hey. यार the moment मैंने सुना आशीष है, मैंने कहा withdraw कर लूं क्या? यार आशीष बहुत पढ़ा लिखा आदमी है, पता है?
यार ये कहते हैं सब, but
let's see पता चलेगा. देखो मैं हूँ यहाँ.
मैं first और second quiz देख रहा था, and I was just like, man, I am stupid. Like I didn't get like most of the answers. So.
Most of the answers.
तो मैं तो सिर्फ एंटरटेनमेंट पोर्शन के लिए हूँ.
EQ.
EQ.
Talking of entertainment questions, someone who almost, again, like I said, always wins and has always qualified for semi-final as well. One of the very consistent quizzing performance. Consistently funny, consistently good. Give it up for Saurav Mehta.
Hello. Hi, KV.
Hello, Saurav.
That's it. I have no speech this time. Let's get on. I need to win quickly and go home.
Okay. Oh,
wow.
Yes. Gopal, sir, you don't know how good I am in quizzing. Get ready to
you
be
sound like
intimidated.
when you said you have to win and go home, ऐसा लगता है तू कलकत्ता में अपनी माँ को वचन देके आए कि मैं बॉम्बे जाऊंगा, जीत के आऊंगा, फिर वापस आऊंगा.
और ये भी पता चलता है इससे कि ये किसी और के घर से खेल रहा है. लेकिन you look like a first bencher. भाई.
Yes, I am here to prove you wrong. Sir, मेरा favorite answer pass है, so please use something else, okay? Don't copy me.
Pass. जो मैं बड़ी मुश्किल से हो पाया हूँ अपनी लाइफ में.
Okay, on that note, our last contestant for this quarterfinal, another ex-champion of Flipkart presents Quizzing with the Comedians. Back here, he was finalist in
the only one that mattered. I'm sorry.
Give it up for Shantanu Anam.
नीची सबके सब चैंपियन आदमी आया यहाँ पे. I'm going to just start with a not humble approach. अच्छा flip हो जाए अगले 10 मिनट.
हाँ करना चाहिए. Somebody to start.
नहीं मैं हूँ.
Dude, let's mess with Shakya. You know, he'll be like, wow, how are these guys so confident? Just let's fuck him, you know.
So let's destroy Shakya. Ashish.
Dude, let's do it.
Ashish.
You guys know that, like, I hang out around comedians. I'm a comedian. Great. Please do what you're doing.
Today you're a quizzer.
You're acting like I'm only a quizzer.
Today you're a quizzer.
मैंने आशीष शाक्या में हमेशा से एक IAS ऑफिसर देखा है.
मेरे घर वालों ने भी देखा था. अफसोस.
और मैंने इनमें एक पापा.
Okay, let's begin. First question direct to Ashish. The shrine of Our Lady of Dash, also known as Our Lady of Fair Winds, dates back to the latter years of the 14th century on the island of Sardinia. A particular capital city was named by its founder, Santa Maria del Dash Dash, which literally translates to Holy Mary of the Fair Winds, after the shrine when he landed there. Which city are we talking about?
Okay, hang on. So, okay, wait, sorry. This shrine is in this city.
No, this shrine is not necessarily in this city. It's just the founder, when he landed there, named that city after this shrine.
After this shrine. Okay, so this is another capital city. Okay. This should be Buenos Aires.
This is Buenos Aires. Fair winds, Buenos Aires.
Fair winds, yeah.
Buenos Aires. 10 points there to Ashish. Shax gets 10 points. And I go to GD. GD, now I'm talking about a certain author.
Okay.
X, the author, accurately predicted when he would die. When he was born on November 30th, 1835, mere weeks after Halley's Comet was at perihelion, which is closest to the sun. It appears roughly every 75 years, and X predicted he would die the next time it graced the sky. As he put it in 1909, I came in with Halley's Comet in 1835. It is coming again next year, and I expect to go out with it. It will be the greatest disappointment of my life if I don't go out with Halley's Comet. The Almighty has said, no doubt. Now here are these two unaccountable freaks. They came in together, they must go together. I am looking forward to that. He ended up passing away at his Connecticut home on April 21st, 1910, one day after Halley's Comet's perihelion. Which great adventurous author are we talking about?
Yeah, I think this is Mark Twain.
It is Mark Twain. Superb start.
Right.
GD, it is Mark Twain.
Thank God. Because मैं इसके घर गया हूँ. कनेटिकट में मेरा शो था तो हमने इसके घर का टूर किया था एक.
Wow.
तो बच गया मैं. जीरो तो नहीं आया, बच गया मैं.
Okay, 10 points to GD. Now I go to Saurav. Saurav, legend has it that this dish came into existence due to an offense to the Awadhi cuisine by a British official. Nawab Sayyid Muhammad Haider Kazmi invited a British official for a feast, and he didn't leave a single stone unturned to serve the officer. However, the officer still complained about the chewy texture of the Sikh kebabs served to him. This remark offended the Nawab, and he ordered his Khansamas to create a unique version of the kebabs that could restore his injured self-respect and fame. Soon, they invented the technique of adding raw fruits like papaya and mangoes to tenderize the meat, and this famous dish was born. What dish are we talking about?
अरे यार, ये पास कर दो भाइयों.
हाँ, पास ही मेरे से तो पास ही होगा because I have never been to this guy's house like Gopal sir went to Mark Twain. Sayyid never invited me.
Nawab Sayyid Muhammad.
Sayyid never invited me. Technically, I'm a vegetarian, so this question is slightly offensive to me. But the only answer I can think of is Galati.
Not Galati. Galati. Going to
Shantanu. Good guess, please, for my morale.
Good guess. Yeah, good guess.
Thank you.
Going to Shantanu.
Then if it's not the Galati, it's the Kakori kebab.
It is the Kakori kebab. 10 points there to Shantanu. It is Kakori kebab. We're talking about Kakori kebab. Shantanu gets 10 points. And then now we go to Ashish. Ashish, Camp Mullah was an alternative hip-hop group that rose to prominence with the release of their single Party Don't Stop in 2010. With that and their subsequent works earning them a nomination for Best International Act Africa at the 2012 BET Awards. A majority of Camp Mullah's songs incorporate hip-hop and contemporary R&B. They call their musical style 2-5 flow, which is a pun on their origin country X's calling code plus 254. Which East African country, which has 50 national parks and reserves, are we talking about?
Oof. Okay, give me a second. Let me ideate. There are 2-3 options only.
Yeah, East Africa is very small. Yeah. East Africa is very. Man, I really want to guess South Africa. I know it's not mine. Don't worry, but just saying.
Is it Kenya?
It is Kenya. Yes. 10 points there to Ashish. Kenya is the country we are talking about. It is Kenya. Kenya plus 254 and East African. Many national parks and reserves.
Giveaway यार plus 254 किसको नहीं पता कहाँ था?
टेलीफोन आता है +254 मोरी तो
राजधानी STD
नहीं,
चला
but बीच में याद
सर
है सबको
ओटीपी
अपना
बता दीजिए वाला, यहीं से तो आता है सर
हाँ
ओटीपी बता।
वो ईस्टर्न यूरोप से आ रहे थे बीच में फोन. I forget the code. I think in Belarus or one of those places. These scam calls are coming, or like one of those former Soviet bloc countries. बड़ा scam चला
बाबा
था.
के पास एक ISD PCO का स्टॉल है और मेरे पास STD.
STD as a disease or
Obviously, disease.
Obvious.
On the mobile.
Okay, Ashish got Kenya, which means next direct will be to GD. GD, this is for you. In
Oh,
the
yes.
days of the telegraph, the Morse code letter dash, so dash is a letter, dot dash dot, was sometimes used to indicate received or message received / understood. When radio voice communication began to replace telegraph, X, the code word assigned to the letter dash in the Army Navy phonetic alphabet, took on the same role. So telegraph के time पे that letter meant received or message understood. जब telegraph की जगह radio voice communication आ गया तो same word, same letter से जो word associated है, that had the same meaning. Now, contrary to what Hollywood movies would have you think, X only means last transmission received or understood and does not also mean or imply that I will comply. What word or phrase are we talking about?
I didn't understand this part. Contrary to what Hollywood would have you think, X only means.
So Hollywood movies वगैरह में when someone says this word or phrase, it sometimes implies कि वो बोल रहे हैं I will comply, मैं कर दूंगा. But technically that doesn't mean I will comply. Technically it only means I have understood or I have received your message.
I have no idea, but I'll go with the guess of Roger. Roger that.
Perfect. It is Roger. Roger that. Good guess. That blank is R. So R meant received or message. R. Roger is the word for R in phonetic alphabets. And the answer is Roger or Roger that.
Roger that. Hey.
In Bandra, it means you're Rogered, buddy. You're bro. You're Rogered or you're Bandra phonetic alphabet is different.
हाँ यार आशीष, पानी की जरूरत तो पड़ने वाली है, गला तो सूख रहा है ये सवाल.
GD gets 10 for Roger that. Going to Saurav Mehta now. Okay, Saurav. X, Y, Z. There are 3 things, but आराम से पढ़ेंगे. It sounds intimidating. It's not. Despite what most people are taught, X wasn't the sole inventor of Z. That is an honor he shares with philosopher Y, whether he wanted to or not. Existing evidence shows that X developed his ideas for Z before Y, but Y only became somewhat aware of X's developments after he had been working on his own. Y published his paper on Z first, and X was convinced that Y plagiarized him. Both men, so X and Y, both men and their supporters traded insults and smears over who deserved priority of invention, with both sides resorting to personal attacks. Y appealed to the Royal Society to make a final ruling in the dispute. The Royal Society, or RS, ruled in favor of X. But that's not surprising, considering that X was president of the Royal Society. X picked reviewers who would support his case, and X authored the final report. The dispute lasted for years until Y's death in 1716. Identify X, Y, Z. Essentially, what we are talking about is there is this whole issue of who developed Z. Developed/invented Z. A lot of people think X was the sole inventor of Z, but a lot of people also think Y was the sole inventor. And so they had this fight for years and years and years. And yeah.
Firstly, I'd like to thank you for this question. It made me feel nostalgic about school where I didn't know any of the X, Y, or Z. So thank you for that, KV. But KV, the only, I don't know if timelines match. And if timelines don't match, I'm going to sound very stupid. But is it Edison and Tesla?
Not Edison and Tesla. Good guess.
I
Going
knew
to
it.
Shantanu.
Yeah, I have the same problem. If the timelines don't match, then I'll sound like a buffoon. But is this one of the Wright brothers? And
No, not right, brothers. Going to Shax.
I think X is Newton, Z is calculus, Y should be Leibniz.
Yes, that is correct. Full 10 points. We are talking about who
Nice.
invented calculus. We usually credit it to Newton, but there is a theory that Leibniz actually invented calculus before Newton did. So we are talking about calculus, Newton, and Leibniz.
which Lebanese?
Man.
The guy who has the falafel stall, no? Linking road.
Arush wale.
Aslam, he's damn good, dude. Maths भी करते हैं और falafel भी. बढ़िया.
फलाफल भी फटाफट देता है.
मेरी engineering degree का यही फायदा है कि मेरे को ये सब चूतिया चीज पता होता है.
Okay, Shaq gets 10 for Newton, Leibniz calculus, and we go to GD.
Yeah.
For decades, X devoured desserts at speeds that made competitive eaters wonder what they were doing wrong. Then, after 35 years of happily consuming carbs, X abruptly announced in 2005 that Dash weren't going to be a part of his daily diet going forward. A dash is a sometime food, he sang, while adults everywhere wondered what happened to their childhoods. It didn't change the world so much as it showed us that the world had changed. It put the problem of childhood obesity at the forefront and also showed us that even cartoons and puppets needed to model good behavior for kids. What are we talking about? What is X?
कुछ समझ नहीं आया मुझे. एक बार मुझे क्वेश्चन फिर से पढ़ना पड़ेगा.
हाँ. नहीं बिल्कुल.
So you want me to? What is the question? What is X, right?
What is X? Bas.
This is a body or something.
Someone. Someone.
यार मुझे पता नहीं, बट वो जो एक जो बंदा बर्गर खाता है उसका नाम क्या है, जो पॉपाई द सेलर में जो बंदा बर्गर खाता है?
नहीं, वो नहीं है.
नहीं,
going to Saurav.
Okay.
And I'm only confused because you said not only. I'm confused because you said puppet. But otherwise, is it Homer Simpson?
Not Homer Simpson. Going to Shantanu.
Garfield?
Not Garfield. Going to Ashish.
Is it Cookie Monster?
It is Cookie Monster. 10 points there to Ashish. A cookie is a sometime food. Cookie Monster kept eating cookies all his life and then announced that नहीं, पूरे time में cookies नहीं खाऊंगा. Cookie हमेशा नहीं खाना चाहिए. Bad habit है and all that. So Ashish gets 10 points for Cookie Monster. Okay, now going to GD again. GD, we're talking about someone who also published a novel. X published a novel too. Published in 1944, Hidden Faces follows a group of aristocrats living in France before and during the Second World War. X announced it with signature flair, saying that the new times of intellectual responsibility had prompted him to write a long and boring true novel. The New York Times reviewed it under the headline, "It's boring, but is it art?" Reviewer Mark Schroer wrote in his scathing column, "His sofa in the shape of lips showed more intellectual responsibility than this." Who are we talking about? And then on the right, you have the cover of the book, where on the top it says Dash's only novel, Hidden Faces. And then there is a review by someone from Guardian. So, who is the author of this?
No idea. Pass.
Okay, passing to Saurav.
One second, just trying to see. Man, I have no idea. Just taking a guess. Winston Churchill?
No. Passing to Shantanu.
Pass.
Passing to Ashish.
Two options. Timeline country throwing me off completely. और जो नीचे blurb लिखा है वो अलग बकचोदी. That's also confusing. Is it Dali?
It is Dali. Yes. 10 points there to Ashish. It is Dali. And the image cover is also some sort of a hint because it's very Dali.
Yes.
Also, signature flair. I was confused with Picasso and Dali.
Yeah.
And that fucking the thing says photographically precise. So I'm like, इनमें से कोई भी precise नहीं था because Dali was all fucking surreal bullshit.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Signature flair. Also
flair was the keyword.
Yeah. And the cover is very Dali.
Yeah.
Anyway, the answer is Salvador Dali. Salvador Dali's only novel, Hidden Face.
No.
Okay. That brings us to the end of the first half. Quick look at the score on the back of Buenos Aires, Kenya, Newton, Leibniz, Calculus, Cookie Monster, and Salvador Dali. Ashish is right now leading with 50 points, followed by GD with Mark Twain and Roger That on 20. Saurav is yet to start scoring. Shantanu.
How dare you?
Shantanu is on 10 with Kakori Kebab. Okay, but no way. Full second half is yet to start. The order now will be Shantanu, Saurav, GD, Ashish. Shantanu, this is your direct. This guy that you see on screen, he's Alan Carr. He's an American producer and manager of stage who was responsible for this very specific change in 1989. At that time, the reasoning provided by him was that it is not about winning or losing, but about achievement. After this was done, many followed the bandwagon and joined this tradition. One of the other rationales understood was that this plugged the honor continuously and it didn't make losers feel any worse than they already do. However, in 2010, after a 22 years gap, the organization decided to go back to its old tradition, despite the producer himself calling it rude and naughty. What change did Carr bring? What change are we talking about?
Does this have to do with having nominations at award ceremonies or no?
No. Passing to Saurav.
Is it something, it might sound stupid, but is it something like the Oscar goes to instead of the winner is?
Beautiful answer. Perfect answer. 10 points there to Saurav. What a great crack. He basically changing the phrase from the winner is to the Oscar goes to at the Academy Awards. So instead of saying the winner, it implies then who the losers are. He changed it to the Oscar goes to.
इन्होंने सोचा भी नहीं था कि हम इतना पोलाइटनेस करेंगे और एक दिन आके क्रिस रॉक विल स्मिथ मार.
Okay, Saurav gets changing the phrase from the winner is to the Oscar goes to at the Academy Awards, which means next direct will be GD. GD, this is a brand question. In the 1930s, Hubert Hansen and his 3 sons began selling juice to film studios and retailers in Southern California under the Hansen's name. In the 1970s, Tim Hansen, who was the grandson of Hubert, developed and marketed a variety of sodas and juices also under the Hansen's label. Later, the company became the Fresh Juice Company of California. The company renamed itself as X in 2012 and then sold their Hansen's juices and sodas and their other non-energy drink brands to the Coca-Cola company in 2015. Which brand are we talking about?
तो अभी ये ब्रांड है, अभी भी है, but it still exists.
Yeah.
Heineken?
Not Heineken. Going to Ashish.
You won't be able to tell me if X is one name. Actually, no, fuck that. One word or 2 words, but no, fuck that. I don't think it's that. Is it Tropicana?
Not Tropicana. Going to Shantanu.
Gatorade?
Not Gatorade. Going to Saurav.
Is it real?
Not real. No. Okay, we'll make it a 5-point question. Start with GD again. So the hint is think energy drinks. We know this brand because of energy drinks. Don't think anything else. We'll start with GD.
Energy drink, ना क्या है मुझे? I don't know. Boost?
Not Boost. Going to Ashish.
Is it Monster?
It is Monster. 5 point there to Ashish. We are talking about Monster. And I go to Shantanu. Shantanu, again, I'm talking about a certain, this guy, X, is a hardcore Boston Red Sox fan. Not only did he write a story about the Boston Red Sox, the story is called The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon, who was a former Red Sox pitcher. He also had a cameo in the Jimmy Fallon Drew Barrymore movie Fever Pitch, which is about a crazed Sox fan. He plays himself and throws out the first pitch at a game. In 2004, X and Stuart Onan, another novelist, so X is a novelist, a writer, chronicled their reactions to the season that finally brought the World Series title back to Beantown. Beantown as in Boston. It's appropriately titled Faithful. Two diehard Boston Red Sox fans chronicle the historic 2004 season. Who are we talking about? We're talking about a certain novelist writer who is a crazy Red Sox fan, and there are a bunch of hints here and there. Who are we talking about?
I'm not talking about this guy at all. Whose turn is it?
Shantanu.
Okay.
Throws himself and throws out.
Shantanu, all the best. मुझे तो सवाल ही नहीं समझ में आया.
Pass.
Okay, passing to Saurav.
I just take a random guess, but is Stephen King?
It is Stephen King, yes. Stephen King is always right when you have to think of an American writer.
That's why we throw one names in every category.
Yeah. It is Stephen King. Stephen King, Saurav Mehta gets 10 points. And now I go to GD. GD, this is a flower that you see on screen. Acacia delbata is a species of flowering plant native to southeastern Australia. Its bright yellow flowers are frequently given to women on International Women's Day. Which cocktail containing champagne is named after this plant? Okay, so this is a relatively direct question. I am looking for a cocktail that contains champagne that's named after this plant that you see on your screen.
अरे यार दारू तो मैंने छोड़ दिया है बहुत दिन से. Which? So you want me to give the name of the cocktail, not the flower?
It's the same. So cocktail का आप नाम लेंगे वही नाम है.
यार ये पत्ते तो मुझे रोजमेरी के लग रहे हैं. Rosemary?
Not rosemary. Going to Ashish.
So sorry, I'm confused. So this is obviously a scientific name, and it's okay. Are you able to tell me if the cocktail is yellow or not? No. I have two answers again. I don't know. Is it mimosa?
It is mimosa. Yes. 10 points there to Ashish. It is mimosa.
दूसरा है बेलिनी, लेकिन
मिमोसा.
ये सब शराबी लोगों को पता होता है भाई, हम तो नहीं पीते.
Dude, ये बहुत बेस्ट. मतलब अगर आपको एकदम irresponsible drinking करनी है, please drink mimosa. One drink you're like, wow, I can handle it, and before you know, you're 16 drinks down and you're flying, and it's evil and it's delicious, and I would not recommend it to anybody.
16 drinks. You say
बहुत आसानी से अंदर जाता है और पता भी नहीं चलता कब चढ़ गई.
16 drinks.
पानी की तरह जाता है अंदर ये.
16 तो मैं पानी भी ना पी पाऊंगा.
Okay, the last right answer was mimosa by Shaq, so this will be a direct for Shantanu. Shantanu, the brainchild of Ibo Omari, Project Paintback first started in 2015 after a man walked into Omari's store asking for a spray paint to cover up a dash in a playground. Omari responded by going to the park himself and turning it into a large mosquito. Other unaffiliated artists around Germany have since joined the movement to transform them into fun images, such as people kissing, a Rubik's Cube, or an owl. I've given you 4 examples on the screen on the right. What are these guys trying to cover up? What is the blank?
Genitalia of some sort.
Genitalia of some sort? No. Passing to Saurav.
This is of Germany. Is it the swastika?
It is the swastika. Yes. 10 points there to Saurav. These are all swastika which have been painted to hide swastika. For example,
I have to say, one of those illustrations is not doing a very good job of hiding it. That girl
Correct. The
is
last
like,
one. The last one.
So, like, what
The
happened to
last
you?
one is the only one in which I couldn't even see balls. That's all I could see.
So, lovely.
But yeah, this is swastika. You can see left was the original one and then they painted it to look like this. Okay, 10 points again to Saurav Mehta. And now I go to GD. GD, this is an island I'm talking about. Okay, long story, but we have all heard of the answer. So don't get disheartened with the long story around the island. Also known as the Isle of Seven Cities, X was a 15th century cartographic phenomenon said to lie far west of Spain and Portugal. Stories about its existence are connected to an Iberian legend in which 7 Visigothic bishops and their parishioners fled Muslim conquerors in the 8th century, sailing west and eventually discovering an island where they founded 7 settlements. The bishops burned their ships so they could never return to their former homeland. According to some versions of the legend, many people have visited X, but no one has ever left. In other versions, sailors can see the island from a distance, but the land always vanishes once they approach. Spain and Portugal even once squabbled over the island, despite its non-existence, perhaps because its beaches were said to be strewn with precious metals. By the late 15th century, once the North Atlantic was better mapped, references to X disappeared. What is the name of this island, or what is this island? And a hint for all of us, we have heard this name for sure. It's not a very obscure, random island ka naam hai. We all know the word.
No idea. Pass.
Okay, passing to Ashish.
Answer again. Very confusing.
यहाँ पे एक नहीं आ रहा है, इसको हमेशा 2 होते हैं.
आशीष का वही है ना कि आईएएस जाऊं कि आईपीएस. हमेशा 2 ऑप्शन है.
I'm going to go with Atlantis.
Not Atlantis. Going to Shantanu.
Probably the other one.
And one nice classic tukka, El Dorado.
Not El Dorado. Going to Saurav.
I mean, that was my other answer. It's not an island, so like, yeah.
Caribbean?
Not Caribbean. Okay, we'll give a hint. Start again with GT. Make it a 5-point question. The hint is Mukesh Ambani.
Okay, that is a hint to everything.
Antilla?
Antilla. Yes, 5 points there to GD. The island is called Antilia or Antilla. Antilia or Antilla.
Correct.
Antilla. GD gets 5 points and I go to Shax. Shax, in the episode Panic in Jerky Town, Johnny Bravo wins a trip to a beef jerky factory. Beef jerky is Johnny's favorite food, and his extensive knowledge of the food product impresses the owner, who decides to name him the successor of Jerky Town. After finding his companion's clothing in the machinery, Johnny mistakenly concludes that the jerky is actually made out of humans and announces it during what would have been his inauguration. What literary work is this episode a nod to?
Dude, I know what the thing is called. I'm forgetting the book's name. Fuck, give me a second, okay? It's one of those dystopian novels. We all know the shit.
You don't say we.
No, don't, please. We as in the IS community.
So this is अपना वो यार Soylent Green, वो है ना? Soylent Green वाला किताब है. वो पता है. The thing is Soylent Green, and what they're eating, and it turns out it's human. I'm forgetting what book it is spectacularly forgetting. This is what happens when you lie down at night and watch reels.
No, but just to clarify, that is also a reference, the Soylent Green, because like in the movie, there is that ingredient X wala reference. But I'm not talking about Soylent Green. I'm talking about just a literary book, like a book which has like this whole thing has some knot to that book. So the answer is not Soylent Green.
I know answer is Soylent Green. Okay, it's
this is just to clarify to the audience also. Soylent Green is a 1973 movie in which some part of this episode are also not to that, which is the ingredient X wala part. But we are talking about this whole thing is a parody of some sort of a famous book.
I don't know, dude. I'll pass.
Okay, passing to Shantanu.
The Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Yes, it is. Shaq's
yeah.
a lot on this. This is Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. This is the nod to that. 10 points there to Shantanu. Beautiful crack. Shantanu gets 10. And now I go to Saurav. Saurav, this is your
I've not read this book anyway.
Saurav, internet movie nerds have compiled a list of crimes committed by X during his dash dash. X is a person. Dash dash is something associated with that person. And these are some movie nerds have actually compiled a list of crimes that X committed during his dash dash. Violation of 720 something something, which is false personation of a peace officer. Odometer fraud or tampering. Odometer fraud conspiracy. Computer tampering when he changes his attendance record. Contributing to the delinquency of children. Class A misdemeanor. I'm pretty sure the leopard skin vest X wears at one point is some sort of fashion crime. And the best, the Save X campaign might be liable for soliciting under the 740 ILCS Predator Accountability Act. What set of crimes that the world first saw in 1986 are we talking about? Essentially, it's quite clear that it's some movie thing because movie nerds have sat and compiled this. They've compiled list of crimes and they've actually put like a Sadhara 120, 420 committed by someone during his dash dash. The world saw these set of crimes for the first time in 1986. What are we talking about?
We have to guess the crime, the set of crimes basically.
No, set of crimes are given. You just tell me who is X.
Who are we talking about?
Yeah.
Can I ask you what an odometer is? Or is that
it's the speed, वो गाड़ी में जो आगे रहता है ना, odometer.
Got it. Okay.
कितना चला है गाड़ी?
Is it He-Man?
Not He-Man, going to GD.
So you want me to give the name of the person, right?
हाँ, चलेगा. Name of the person is good enough.
Yeah, I have no idea. I'm just guessing. Charles Obraz?
Not Charles Obraz, going to Ashish.
It should be Ferris Bueller.
It is Ferris Bueller. These are crimes committed by Ferris Bueller during his day off.
Day off.
Oh, sure.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Okay, so movie nerds have actually gone through the movie and written what all crimes he committed. I know Shantanu was waiting for this to come to him.
Yeah.
I know for a fact that this is his favorite movie of all time. And but Ashish got it. 10 points to Ashish for Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Okay, that brings us to the end of the third quarter final. As expected, too much fun. Let's take a quick look at the score. Shax had 50 in the first half. In the second half, he got 5 for Monster Beverage and 10 each for Ferris Bueller and Mimosa. Shax wins this quarterfinal with 75 points and qualifies for semi-final.
What an upset, man. Wasn't expecting it at all. What an upset. Huge upset. Oh,
now, genuinely, the quiz was very, very close amongst the rest, like the 3 participants. The score are actually 20, 25, 30. They're very, very close. So just like 5 points difference. GD had 20 in the first half. GD got 5 for Antilla in the second half. GD ends on 25. Saurav had nothing in the first half, but had a stellar second half. He got the winner is changed to the Oscar goes to. he got Stephen King, and he got Swastika. Saurav went on 30 points. And Saurav becomes the first runner-up and qualifies to semi-final.
Didn't say loser. Thanks.
Shantanu had 10 in the first half. And in the second half, Shantanu got Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Shantanu ends on 20 points. So the winner of this quarterfinal is Shax, who qualifies for semi-final. Saurav Mehta came second with 30, also qualifies to semi-final. And damn close, GD 25 and Shantanu 20. Yes, fun participant, I'll remember. Shax has 6, Saurav has 6, Shantanu has 7, and GD has 13. So without doubt, the most fun participant.
मैं इसी के लिए आया था. मेरा यही था दोस्तों.
The most fun participant. It just didn't end. मैं total करके बैठ गया 12, फिर इन्होंने कुछ मार दिया उसके बाद, फिर मंडल. But thanks GD, thanks Shantanu. Thank you for always saying yes and coming. And see you soon, Ashish and Saurav. Bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.